Welcome to the Pugilist Place Podcast, broadcasting live from historic downtown Riverside. My name is Lawrence Mejia. We are beyond thankful that you are here. Please follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and Facebook. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Pugilist Place. Lastly, please visit our website, thepugilistplace.com, for all things boxing. Today, we are going to talk about Ryan Garcia's emphatic victory over Francisco Fonseca last Friday at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California, and preview the much-anticipated Wilder-Fury 2 coming up this Saturday. So let's get right to it. Ryan Garcia. Last Friday, Ryan Garcia, with a perfect left hook to the head of Francisco Fonseca, erased much, if not all, of the remaining doubt about his ability to be a dominant force inside the sport of boxing. A fighter with movie star good looks and the natural physical gift of incredible hand speed, many boxing fans and members of the media began to take a hesitant note toward Garcia after his fight with Carlos Morales in September 2018. In a fight that Garcia ultimately won by majority decision, Morales came on strong down the stretch, pressing Garcia in a way he had never experienced in his professional career, and made King Rai look hesitant and confused. Although Morales was a quality opponent, some were wondering if this Instagram sensation, with over 4.8 million followers, truly had what it took to develop into an elite-level boxer. Enter Saul Canelo Alvarez's trainer, Eddie Reynoso. Reynoso is currently a tremendous example of how an elite trainer can refine and develop unpolished talent. Reynoso, by the way, is currently enjoying a great moment in his career. The Ring magazine did a piece on Reynoso not too long ago where he expressed that he felt slighted by the American boxing media for never being voted Trainer of the Year by the Boxing Writers Association of America. Perhaps his comments were a little premature, as the Boxing Writers Association of America voted him as the 2019 Trainer of the Year. Reynoso's current stable of boxers is a who's who of elite-level boxers and champions. Garcia, former WBO featherweight titleist Oscar Valdez, current WBC flyweight belt holder Julio Cesar Martinez, and current pound-for-pound great Canelo Alvarez are all presently under the tutelage of Reynoso. In approximately a year and a half, Reynoso has helped turn Garcia into a destructive force in the lightweight division, which has placed him on the brink of superstardom. Garcia's bouts with Romero Duno in November 2019 and Fonseca were nearly carbon copies of one another. That is to say, they ended with concussive left hooks fired by Garcia in round one. Garcia's fight with Fonseca was really over before it got underway. A destructive left hook sent Fonseca straight back to the canvas. As the back of his head bounced off the mat and his arms, stretched above his head, tightened up, the referee instantly realized that Fonseca was in a compromised state and waved off the fight immediately at the official time of 1 minute 20 seconds in the first stanza. Garcia's left hook is quickly becoming a weapon of intrigue, and in addition to his handsome appearance, is something that will sell tickets to hardcore and casual boxing fans alike. Far from simply winning his last two contests, Garcia destroyed them. Not only did he merely clear the two previous opponents, who were each progressive steps up in competition, Garcia cleared them by leaps and bounds. With as devastating a weapon as his left hook, everybody in the lightweight division should be on notice, as they are all vulnerable to its explosive combination of speed and power. Knockouts are definitive and conclusive. Their outcomes are hard to argue with, as they often leave little room for doubt. So, as long as Garcia is knocking out opponents like he did Duno and Fonseca, even as those that he faces increases in ability, there would be less and less reason to harbor reservations. However, what happens when one of his opponents does not succumb to Garcia's power, be it left hook or otherwise? What happens when one of Garcia's opponents does not get the memo? What then? What happens when Garcia faces true adversity? Will he be able to adapt, adjust, and overcome? That question remains to be seen, and is perhaps one of the last queries that will have to be addressed before he is universally referred to as elite or world class. Meanwhile, Garcia just keeps obliterating whoever Golden Boy puts in front of him, and in his words, shocking the world. Moments after Garcia's victory, Devin Haney, who was sitting ringside, jumped into the ring, and the two had some playful words that culminated in both fighters agreeing that they should fight one another. Perhaps that fight will be made in the near future. However, it appears that Garcia's next opponent will be Jorge Linares, who scored a remarkable fourth-round knockout of Carlos Morales. The durable Carlos Morales. At 34 years old, Linares demonstrated that there's still a lot left in his gas tank, and he poses an interesting challenge and yet another step up in competition for Garcia. Linares still has exceptional hand speed and consequential power, as was displayed when he stopped Morales, who had never been stopped before in his entire career. A Garcia-Linares match could produce fireworks while it lasts. A confident Garcia would likely let his explosive hands go. Likewise, Linares' speed, precision, and power would present problems for Garcia that he has not yet had to confront in the ring. Will Garcia be able to handle the punches of a quick, accurate puncher like Linares? Similarly, but perhaps a bigger question is whether or not Linares can take Garcia's power, specifically his deadly left hook. Nobody will fault Linares for losing to pound-for-pound king Vasily Lomachenko. However, his shocking first-round knockout loss to Pablo Cesar Cano last January caused many to question if Linares was now on the downside of his career. Linares claimed that he had crossed a bridge too far by moving up to 140 to fight Cano, and that he was now at his best at lightweight. Oscar De La Hoya mentioned that he had reserved the Staples Center for a date in July that could serve as the battleground for Garcia Linares. If everything falls into place, boxing fans could get a very interesting match in the heart of downtown Los Angeles. Another interesting facet is that Garcia is making it known that he would like to fight the very best in the lightweight division. Now. Not later, not in 5 years, not when he's in his 30s, but right now. Unlike some who equivocate or claim that future opponents are up to their promoter, Garcia made it clear that he wants to fight Linares, Luke Campbell, Gervonta Davis, and Devin Haney. In interviews to the lead up to his fight with Fonseca, Garcia declared that he wanted to fight until age 26, then embark on a movie directing career. Whether or not that plan comes to fruition, Garcia clearly wants to prove his skills against the best fighters in his division, which is truly a breath of fresh air and exciting news for fight fans who would have a series of huge fights to look forward to in the future should they be made. Garcia against any of the top lightweights, Campbell, Linares, Davis, Teofimo Lopez, or Haney, would be must-see television. Now, on to our second topic of conversation, Wilder Fury 2. It's been the media blitz to this fight has been inescapable. If you're a fight fan, it's been all over ESPN. The advertisements for the pay-per-view have been all over TV, online, etc. In December of 2018, fight fans were treated to a classic heavyweight battle when Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, both undefeated, squared off at the Staples Center in downtown Los Angeles. The fight resulted in a 12-round split decision draw, although most members of the media believed that Fury had in fact won. Wilder knocked Fury down twice, including a devastating knockdown in the final round that Fury inexplainably rose from. But the lineal champion appeared to outbox Wilder for long periods of the fight. Dissatisfied with the outcome, both boxers verbally agreed to a rematch and were in the middle of deep negotiations of a second fight when Fury shocked the boxing world and signed a co-promotional deal with Top Rank last February. With Bob Arum now at the helm of Fury's promotional future, his immediate rematch with Fury fell through. Instead, Arum sought to introduce Fury more so to the American audience by fighting him twice in Las Vegas and on ESPN platforms. Arum urged Wilder's handlers at Premier Boxing Champions to market the WBC champion as best they could as well. There was immediate dissatisfaction from diehards that wanted to see the rematch as soon as possible and felt that Fury's alliance with Top Rank and Arum would over-marinate the second bout. Now, you can't really fault them for that because we are living in an era where fights are habitually over-marinated. Classic examples or stereotypical examples would be Mayweather-Pacquiao. You could even go back to the heavyweight division with Tyson and Lennox Lewis. And it seems more often than not, we get fights later as opposed to sooner. And it was a fantastic first fight, so you really can't blame the public for wanting to see him run it back as soon as possible. But that concern appears to have been misplaced, as the additional year of promotion and exposure seems to have worked to perfection. As I mentioned a few moments ago, in this era where boxers are often corralled within their promotional companies and broadcast networks are siloed away from others, Premier Boxing Champions and Top Rank were able to actually get the fight done. The additional year and the in-between fights that came with it have grown the rematch into a legitimate cultural event. The first fight did approximately 325,000 pay-per-view buys. I've heard some knowledgeable sources claim that the second fight could possibly do as much as 1.2 million pay-per-view fights. Now, whether that's wishful thinking, these are people in the industry that are saying that it's a attainable number, given what they're being told and what they're hearing from insiders. Several people in the media have declared that Wilder-Fury 2 is the most anticipated heavyweight fight since Lennox Lewis-Mike Tyson in 2002. A fight that, as I mentioned a few moments ago, when both fighters were not in their physical primes, and these two fighters, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, are in their physical primes, are both undefeated. The bottom line is that the moves that Fury made in terms of aligning with Top Rank and allowing both fighters to build their stars for a year appears to have worked. They are both still in their physical primes. What may have been lost pales in comparison to what was gained. I mean, the excitement from casual boxing fans, non-boxing fans who are going to tune in and watch the pay-per-view, I can't compare it to anything in recent memory. This is going to be a huge fight for boxing. This is truly a 50-50 fight. Even the current betting odds out of Las Vegas reflect this reality. Who has the advantage in a rematch? As was mentioned before, most people in the media believe that Fury did enough with his boxing to win their first meeting. The first of Fury's knockdowns was more of a flash knockdown, and he was not seriously hurt. The second, however, Fury got caught going straight back and was punished severely for it. How he got up from the second knockdown still remains a mystery. It's a subject of much intrigue. If Fury does not go down in that final round, he wins the fight. Those who had Fury winning the first fight, when predicting a winner for the second, would probably say, the guy who won the first. Fury is clearly the better boxer of the two. The Gypsy King enjoys extraordinary gifts of height and length. Fury's ability to box is incredibly rare for a big man, let alone a big man of his size. At 6'9", Fury has the uncanny ability to slip punches and fire off combinations like a man much smaller. He might now be a more polished product, this is a point we will discuss a little further later, than he was in the first outing, as he was only 2 tune-up fights removed from his nearly 2.5-year absence from the ring after defeating Vladimir Klitschko in 2015. It is very possible that Fury's stamina and endurance would be improved heading into Saturday night's fight. This time, would Fury have the conditioning to evade the punch that nearly knocked him out in the 12th round last time? When we look at Fury's two opponents since Wilder, Tom Schwartz and Otto Wallin, they are not quite of the caliber that Wilder opposed, Dominic Breazeale and Luis Ortiz, in his last 2 bouts. Fury obliterated Schwartz, but had to dig deep to earn a victory over Wallin. Wallin caused 2 terrible cuts to Fury's right eye with a clean, hard left hook that required 47 stitches. With the possibility of a stoppage at any moment, which would thus have awarded the fight to Wallin, Fury had to go on the offensive to ward off any suspicion that he was unfit to continue. He showed great heart against Wallin, but it remains to be seen how Fury's scar tissue over the afflicted eye will hold up to Wilder's power punching. Fury has publicly said that he intends to go on the offensive and attempt to knock Wilder out. He has also allegedly put on 20 pounds in an effort to help with this supposed objective to knock Wilder out. We will see if that is truly a part of his game plan or simply misinformation. If Fury did decide to sit and trade with Wilder, this would appear to play right into Wilder's strengths Fury will also be fighting for the first time with Sugar Hill Stewart, the nephew of legendary Kronk trainer, the late Emmanuel Stewart, in a fight with so much on the line. Will they work seamlessly with each other, or will there be turbulence? These questions will be answered in just a few short days. There is no question that in the boxing department, Fury has Wilder beat. However, Wilder possesses what many erudite boxing people are calling the most devastating right hand in boxing history. With as superb an equalizer as his pulverizing right hand, Wilder's always one punch away from turning a fight in his favor. This was the case in Wilder's last fight when he squared off against Luis King Kong Ortiz in their rematch at the MGM Grand Garden Arena last November. For nearly the duration of the fight, Ortiz was outboxing Wilder and had people on press row thinking that he might cruise to victory. Then, out of nowhere, Wilder unfurled one of his trademark right hands that blasted Ortiz into another dimension. That stoppage gave birth to the often used soundbite that we've heard many times to the build-up to the rematch of Wilder Fury 2. And this would be from Deontay Wilder. Quote, "They have to be perfect for 36 minutes. I have to only be perfect for 2 seconds," unquote. It was really based off this performance against Ortiz that momentum shifted somewhat to Wilder in terms of those in the media who thought that Wilder could win the rematch. Now, I'm not saying that this was a drastic move in Wilder's favor, but originally most people in the media thought that Tyson Fury won. He did it through utilizing his boxing skills. It seemed that most were on record early on, before this fight was official, the rematch was official, as saying, well, he won the first fight. I would probably favor him in the second fight because he looked so superior in terms of his boxing skills and acumen. But after watching his obliterations of first Brazil and then the King Kong Ortiz, I think a lot of them started saying to themselves, in the second match, can Fury miss or hide from that destructive right hand for the entire 12 rounds? If you examine Wilder's last two opponents, they are of superior quality to that of Fury's. And not only did Wilder win, he annihilated them. Wilder's a bit one-dimensional in that he typically does not have much of an offensive attack outside of his right. But when that right detonates, it flattens with the force of an atomic bomb. Apparently, Wilder entered the first fight against Fury with an injured right hand. Some have pointed to Wilder's hesitancy in throwing it in the early rounds of their first go-round as evidence of a pre-existing ailment. If this is true, Wilder would conceivably be entering Saturday night's fight with an even more ruinous right hand than the first time. Additionally, unlike in Fury's camp, no significant changes have been made in Wilder's corner, which would seem to eliminate unpredictability and allow for Wilder to truly improve upon his effort from the last go-round. With all of that being said, Saturday night is sure to be epic and produce fireworks that will have boxing fans talking for a very, very long time. Well, it looks like we're all out of time for today. We'll be back at it next week. Until next time, this has been Lawrence Mejia of the Pugilist Place, reminding you to keep punching.